Okay, so today we are starting chapter 10 notes. Chapter 10 is all about area. So the first thing we're going to start with is just the area of a rectangle. So if we have a rectangle over here, our area is going to be our base times our height. So we're going to have our long side times our shorter side. That's all it is, okay? It's going to be the exact same thing for our area of a parallelogram. We're going to have area equals base times height. So the base of a parallelogram can be any side. Okay? The altitude of the parallelogram is going to be the segment. So it's a segment that is perpendicular. Perpendicular to the line containing the base. Okay? And the height of the parallelogram is just the length of that altitude. Okay? So if we look down here, we can have our base as this bottom, or we can have the base as the side. Either one works. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. That altitude is what we're looking for. So where we can make that right angle with our base. So we can have an altitude inside of our parallelogram. We can also have an altitude on the outside of our parallelogram. Really just depends on which side you choose as your base. Okay? So our first problems, we are just looking for the area of each parallelogram. So right here, we are going to have our base is going to be this bottom that equals that 5, okay? Our height is going to be this 4 inches because that's our altitude. So to find the area of a parallelogram, we are just going to do area equals base times height. So our base is going to be 5 and our height is going to be 4. So when we do that, that gives us 5 times 4, which is 20. And our units for area are going to be inches squared. So if you were with me last semester, you remember area squarea. Sticks in your head all the time. Remember that for this entire chapter. It's area squarea. Okay? Down here, when we're looking, the first thing you should be looking for is your altitude. So your altitude is going to be on the outside of this parallelogram right here. So this is going to be our height, which means that this bottom right here, this 2, is going to be our base. Okay, so we are going to have area equals our base, which is 2, times our height, which is that 3.5, which means our area is going to be 7 centimeters squared. Area squarea. Okay? Our got it problem, it says what's the area of a parallelogram with the base length of 12 meters and a height of 9 meters. So it literally just gives you what you need. So you have area equals base, which here it said 12, and our height, which is 9. If we do 12 times 9, that's going to give us 108. It's going to be meters squared. Okay? So here we are going to find our missing dimension. So our missing dimension is either going to be our base or our height. We don't know which one. So the first thing it gives us, we want to know what the length of DE is. So DE is this altitude right here, which means we're missing our height. And it gives us that the area is that 117. Okay? So if we have area equals base times height, we plug in what we know. So we know our area is going to be 117. And our base is going to be this 9.4 down here, because that's where our altitude hits. So 9.4 h. So we are going to divide both sides by this 9.4. And that's going to leave us with h equals 12.4 inches. This is going to be inches because this isn't the area, this is just a dimension that we're looking for, okay? So If we have a parallelogram with a base of 18 centimeters and an area of 135 centimeters squared, we want to know what the height is. So if we have area equals base times height, our area is going to be that 135 equals our base, which is 18, times our height, which we don't know. Okay, so we are going to divide both sides by this 18, which leaves us with h equals 7.5 centimeters. Okay. Our next page, we're going to look at the area of a triangle. So some of you might remember this from last semester or previous classes, but the area of a triangle is area equals 1/2 base times height. So our base of a triangle can be literally any side of the triangle. Okay, our height is going to be the length of that altitude, just like last time. So it's the length of the altitude to the line containing the base. Okay, so for this first one, we have that you want to make a triangular sail that looks like the one on the right. How many square feet of material do you need? So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to plug in A equals 1/2. Our base here is going to be 13 feet and 4 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 13 feet, and then we have 4 out of 12 inches. Okay. Then we are going to have our height, which is 12 feet and 2 out of 12 inches. Okay. So if we put 1/2 times, if we turn this into an improper fraction, that's going to be 73 over 6. Actually, nope, that's not 73 over 6. This one is going to be 40 over 3. Whoops. 40 over 3. This one is going to be 73 over 6. If we multiply this straight across, that area is going to give us 2,920 over 36, which in just regular numbers is going to be 81.1 repeating feet squared, because we're looking at area, so area square area. Okay, so now we're going to look at the area of this triangle down here. The first thing we notice is that we have inches on this side, and feet on this side. We know that 1 foot equals 12 inches, so that's no problem. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have area equals 1/2 times our base, which on here is going to be 12 inches, and our height, which is 5 inches. So our area is going to equal 1/2 times 60, which means area is going to be 30 inches squared. Okay. And our last part of this section is going to be finding the area of an irregular figure. All we're really going to do here is we're going to take the area of the triangle that we have and add the area of the rectangle we have. So the first thing we notice is that we have these congruent marks, which means that this down here is going to be a square. So if we're finding the area of our square, we've got our base times our height. So our base is going to be 6. And our height is also going to be 6, which means the area of our square is going to be 36, and that's going to be inches squared. So that's the area of our square. Now we're going to look at the area of our triangle. So if we know that each of these sides is going to be 6, we know that this base right here is going to be 6. So we have 1/2 times our base. For this one, it's going to be 6 times our height, which is that altitude of 8. So when we put that into our calculator, that is going to give us 24 inches squared. Okay, So to find the area of the entire thing, we're just going to add those together. So we have 36 plus 24 equals, should get you to 60 inches squared. Okay. Down here, first thing we notice is we have a rectangle and a triangle. So we know that the side of each rectangle is the same, so this side is going to be 5. What we don't know is this altitude right here. Okay. What we know is that we have 16 up at the top and we have 12. 16 is for the entire figure. This 12 is just for this rectangle, so we are going to subtract 16 minus 12. That's going to give us 4, so this altitude right here is going to be 4 centimeters. Okay, so to find the area of a rectangle, we are taking our base times our height, so our base is 12, our height is 5, which gives us 60, and that's going to be centimeters squared. And to find the area of our triangle, we are going to have 1/2 times our base. Our base of that triangle is 5, times our height, which was 4. So 1/2 times 5 times 4 is going to give us 10 centimeters squared. So to find the area of the entire figure, we are going to add those together. So we have 60 plus 10 equals 70 centimeters squared.